Did you know that Jesus was Jewish? You might be asking, what does that mean for your Christian faith?
Watch today and discover how understanding the Jewish roots of your faith and your connection to Israel and the Jewish people
Can transform your life and the way you read the Bible. Coming up on Jewish Voice. Shalom and welcome to Jewish Voice, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jonathan Bernis. The lost tribes of Israel, are they just a myth or do they really exist? If they are real, who are they? Where are they? And how did they get there? In fact, they are real and they directly connect to Bible prophecy, being fulfilled before our very eyes today. My co-host Ezra Benjamin and I are going to answer these questions, and then later in the program we'll be visiting our Lost Tribes Discovery Center, where we're actually identifying and establishing contact with remote Jewish communities around the world. I'm talking about communities that claim to be descendants of the children of Israel. And Ezra, we're talking about this more and more on the program because this is Bible prophecy front and center.
That's right.
When people talk about Bible prophecy, it's usually talking about the Antichrist and Armageddon and 666, and themes that are all connected with last days prophecy or end time prophecy, but we don't talk enough about things that are repeated over and over again in Scripture that directly connect to the last days.
You're right, Jonathan, and there's dozens, maybe hundreds, if we count each one, of prophecies about this idea of God regathering the outcasts of Israel, the exiles of Israel, the scattered of the house of Israel, who He scattered to the ends of the earth. And I think the problem is when we don't understand something at first glance, our tendency is to spiritualize it or say, well, that's symbolic and God really means something else, and not think about it. But Jonathan, we're faced with the reality, and we're getting contact every month, it seems, from different groups around the world who are saying, we know that we are historically from Israel, from the Jewish people, and what if these prophecies are actually true, and the specific places and people God's talking about still exist today?
Well, they're so clear. They're so clear in prophecy, but they're overlooked far too often by believers, by Christians. Isaiah 11:11. We talk about it all the time here on Jewish Voice,
central.
but I don't hear it talked about in many churches. Directly connected to the last days that will come about in that day, by Yom HaHu. In Hebrew, that's end time language, by Yom HaHu, in that day. What day? The day preceding the coming of the Lord, or the return of the Lord.
Wow.
In that day, the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for the peoples. The nations will seek him. His resting place will be glorious. Of course, that's the revelation of the church, the glorious place of rest in the Messiah of Israel. But verse 11, it will also come about when, in that day, by Yom HaHu, that my Lord will again redeem a second time with his hand the remnant of his people who remain. And then it mentions these countries. It's talking about the regathering of the people or children of Israel. Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush. I'm going to highlight that one. Elam, Shinar, Hamath, the islands of the sea. Specifically mentioning places like Cush. Where's Cush?
It's Ethiopia.
Exactly.
It's Sheba. It's that ancient kingdom down the East African seaboard. And not just Ethiopia, Jonathan, but so many of the names there, we don't know them because we don't know what the modern place name is, so we sort of gloss over the Scripture. But if you actually map out where each of those places are, it's Yemen. We know that the Yemenite Jews have returned to Israel. It's the Ethiopian Jews who have returned to Israel. It's Central Asia, communities from Iran and Iraq, Jewish communities that have returned to Israel.
Exactly. Why isn't this talked about in connection with last days prophecy? Why? It should be, because it's there repeatedly. What happens before Jesus returns? The blindness comes off of the eyes of the Jewish people.
That's right.
What happens before Jesus returns? The land of Israel, the land belonging to the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is restored in a day, literally. What happens before the Messiah returns or comes, according to the Jewish people? The restoration of Jerusalem as the capital of the Jewish people. What happens before Jesus returns, there has to be a visible community of Jewish people that cry out, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." Not talked about enough.
And that's why it's important to you watching at home. What does the regathering of the outcasts of Israel have to do with me as a Christian, with my faith, with the return of Jesus? It's right there in black and white
And
in the
specifically
Scriptures.
the lost tribes here. The outcasts of Israel that according to Deuteronomy 28 have been scattered to the uttermost parts of the world are going to be restored.
That's right.
Where are we talking about? We're talking about India, the remote parts of India. We have been working with Jewish people called the B'nai Menashe, the community that relate to descendants of Menashe, one of the lost 10 tribes, on the border with the Burmese mountains, on the border with Myanmar. We're working with Jews that are in remote parts of Zimbabwe and Ethiopia. Ezra, it's an amazing occurrence that Christians should be aware of.
It is. And it should be a real faith builder. It should be a hope giver, Jonathan, because if God is faithful to keep specific promises he made 2-3 millennia ago, he's faithful to keep the promises he's made to us.
He absolutely is. And we're seeing a faithful God who says, "I will preserve you as a nation before me."
That's right.
And he has.
Jonathan, just to drill in a minute on the first part of Isaiah 11:11 that you read for us, it says, "The Lord will stretch out his hand a second time."
Yeah, that's really
What's
key.
the first time?
And we'll put it up on the screen and highlight this because it's very specific. It's the second time. The first time is God fulfilling his promise to bring the Jewish people back from the Babylonian captivity.
Okay.
They're taken into captivity in 586, exactly 70 years later, as prophesied. A remnant come back under Ezra and Nehemiah, and they rebuild the temple.
Right.
They rebuild Jerusalem. It's that same temple called the Second Temple, because the first one under built by Solomon's destroyed, is beautified by King Herod, and that's the temple Jesus came to.
Wow.
But there are Jewish communities that have yet to return, but that has started. So the second time is the Jewish people coming back to the land in what became the restoration of Israel as a nation in 1948.
A direct fulfillment
A direct
of prophecy.
fulfillment, followed by Jerusalem being reestablished and Jewish communities, aliyahs, returns back to the land from Yemen, from North Africa, including Egypt, all the places that are specifically mentioned, well, not all, but beginning from the North Country. I'll bring you back from the North Country.
So incredible, so much there.
But here's one that is specifically mentioned, Cush. Who's Cush? Where is Cush? Cush is Ethiopia.
Wow.
Ezra, we have actually laid out, I love this, it's a great product. We have laid out on a map, a Lost Tribes map, the migration of Jewish people into other areas of the world, the scattering.
That's right.
And where they've been identified in Africa, in Asia, maybe in Central Europe or parts of Northern Europe, rather. We've laid it all out. Talk about that. This is a beautiful product.
Jonathan, it's one of our most informative offerings, and I know we're on the second or third edition because as these groups emerge and as we identify more and more specifically where they are in the world, we update this map so you at home have the most accurate information. We want to get this into your hands. It's great wherever you do your devotionals, wherever you have your prayer room, put this up on the wall to remember to pray for the Jewish people and to remember God's faithfulness in regathering
We also
us.
have a 12-tribe bracelet.
That's right.
with 12 tribes and a Star of David.
Right.
This
Great
is a
reminder for prayer, for intercession, for the salvation of Israel.
And as there also a coffee table book that we've put together called The Lost Tribes of Israel. Beautiful pictures and descriptions, summaries of the different tribes that we're working with. And many of you are helping us to provide dental care, medical care, eye care, all free of charge. Here's what I want to challenge you to do this week. I want you to become a monthly partner. For $30 a month, you can help us sustain Messianic Jewish congregations, communities of Jewish people in remote areas of the world, and help them grow in their faith, in their relationship with Jesus. That's $30 a month, and we'll get all these things out to you, especially this Lost Tribes of Israel third edition book. It's absolutely fantastic. But we'll also get you the map and all these other things as our way of saying thank you. But I want to challenge some of you to give a $600 gift today. And by doing that, you're going to help us to establish a new congregation of believers in Jesus, Jewish believers in Jesus, to grow in their faith. And I'm talking about getting them a sound system and Bibles and the basic materials they need to start a new community of faith. Go and make disciples is the command of Jesus. We're doing that at Jewish Voice, and we want you to be part of it.
Right.
So please today, pick up the phone, call, become a monthly partner, give a $600 gift if you can. If you can't, half it, everything will go to help people in need with medical care, eye care, dental care, and most importantly, the gospel. Here's how.
As you are learning today, the lost tribes of Israel are being discovered around the world, and our teams here at Jewish Voice continue to stay in relationship with them, providing medical care and, most importantly, sharing the gospel in their communities. Would you consider helping Jewish Voice further our outreaches to these people? As you call or go online now and support Jewish Voice Ministries with a one-time gift today of $40 or more. We want to say thank you by sending you two unique resources. First, you'll receive this Lost Tribes wall map, measuring 24 by 36 inches. This amazing chart shows in detail the locations of the Jewish tribes you are helping, and also denotes the ancient Silk Road, the major dispersion route for these tribes. In addition, you will also receive this 12 Tribes bracelet, providing a beautiful reminder and outward display of your support of Israel and the Jewish people. Jonathan is encouraging you to join him as a new monthly Shalom partner. Your continued monthly gifts are vital in providing the ongoing support so desperately needed to keep Jewish Voice outreaches touching the lives of so many people in need. As you make an ongoing commitment and become a new Shalom partner with a gift of just $30 today, we'll also include this Lost Tribes of Israel photo book. It's filled with color pictures and detailed information concerning the history and current location of these Jewish tribes that have been discovered. Your monthly support will make it possible for Jewish Voice to continue to help these tribes by providing the aid they desperately need, and also by establishing new leaders and congregations in their local communities. Make sure to request the Lost Tribes package when you contact us today. Jonathan wants to get these resources into your hands right away as you help us share the gospel, change lives through medical care, and give the gift of hope.
She's here getting help because we're providing it for free. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to see a doctor. She has no other means of getting medical care and medicines. And in just a few minutes, the doctors will see her. She'll get the medicines. We're going to help her every way and any way that we can. And so she'll get her help, and then she'll go into the prayer room, and I believe that she'll pray and receive Yeshua, Jesus, as her Messiah. This is a wonderful day for her. She's going to receive the care that she needs, and you can help us to help them.
Call the 800 number on the screen and let our representative know which level of giving you would like to participate in. If you prefer, you can always choose to give securely online at jewishvoice.tv. You can also donate by mailing your gift to the address on the screen. We are excited to provide you with these valuable resources, and we are so thankful for your generous support of Jewish Voice and for making a difference for so many through your sacrifice. Now, let's rejoin Jonathan and Ezra in the Lost Tribes Discovery Center.
Welcome back behind me, our Lost Tribes Discovery Center. This is the Nerve Center.
That's right. One of my favorite parts of our offices here in Phoenix, Jonathan. This is where we are, first of all, identifying, and in some cases the community leaders are identifying us and reaching out, and then we're beginning a dialogue with the elders of communities around the world that identify as historically Jewish.
This is so exciting because we are receiving letters, emails, texts. I'm getting texts. We're getting visits from people. We had a visit in our office recently from a man in ministry that has been working in Pakistan among a community called the Pashtun.
That's right.
These are Muslims in Pakistan and Iran, right, Ezra?
That's right.
That say we're Muslims, but we know we're Jews.
Right, historically in Iran right now, Jonathan, on the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and for those who know a little bit about world history, it's the Khyber Pass. It's one of the most significant locations on the ancient Silk Road, and there was deposited centuries ago this community of people who say, we know that we are historically from Israel.
It's amazing. So Iran,
Yeah.
Pakistan, Afghanistan.
That's right.
Africa, all throughout Africa, remote places in Asia. It's
All over.
incredible.
All over. When God said he would scatter us from one end of the earth to the other in Deuteronomy, he really meant it.
He did, but he also promised, I will bring them back.
That's
and that's
right.
what we're seeing now. This is a last days fulfillment of end time prophecy, folks.
right.
This is the end of the end. This is the final wrap up. And one of the things that has to be added to your eschatology, your understanding of the last days, is the Jewish people being restored. First back to the land, but also back to God.
That's right.
They're referred to in Isaiah 11 as the outcasts of Israel. I love that term, the outcasts of Israel, because God said, I will cast you out of the land
Exactly.
if you're disobedient, but I will also bring you back.
Right. It's a passion on the heart of the Lord. It's a passion for us here at Jewish Voice, Jonathan, and praise the Lord, he lets us be involved really on the front lines, communities that aren't recognized by most of the worldwide Jewish community, let alone the news or the media worldwide, and yet we have these inroads to relationship and to a gospel impact even.
So the Jews aren't just in Israel and in the United States and in Europe.
That's
they
right.
are in remote villages in
That's right.
Zimbabwe.
That's right.
In the mountains of Ethiopia, near the Khyber Pass
That's right.
between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And again, this is important because this is Bible prophecy being fulfilled. In the last days, I will bring you back. So why is this important? It signals the soon return of Jesus, Yeshua, to Jerusalem.
That's right. And to be in the business of what's important to the Lord's heart, regathering and restoring the lost tribes of Israel, Jonathan, the Bible really is our compass. It's our roadmap. I love that it's not just this generic idea of restoration, but I'm thinking of Isaiah 11:11, one of our key verses as a ministry. There's specific places listed. And one of those is what Isaiah called Cush, which is really modern Ethiopia.
Yeah, I want you to see the verse, C-U-S-H, Cush.
That's right.
It's also referred to as other things.
Like Sheba.
Sheba, also Ethiopia.
That's right. And Jonathan, one of the communities that I think we have the longest standing relationship with, 50 years ago, if you would have said to somebody in Israel, there's a Jewish community in Ethiopia, they would have laughed you out of the synagogue. And yet today, there's over 130,000 Ethiopians, some of whom are now born in Israel, they're second generation, living in the land of Israel.
Somebody read the Bible, Ezra.
Yeah.
And they saw, hey, we're scattered to Ethiopia also.
right.
130,000, and there's great stories of Israel airlifting Jewish people out of Ethiopia.
That's right.
As the communist government was falling, they were airlifting thousands of Jewish people to Israel in something called Operation Solomon.
Exactly. Now, Jonathan, we've been working in Ethiopia for over 20 years. Tell us a little bit about how that began.
Oh, this is the memories. It was a God thing, Ezra. I was working in the former Soviet Union. I was living in St. Petersburg, actually, and I was watching the door begin to close. We were doing these huge festivals of Jewish music and dance, filling football stadiums, and then things began to close.
Okay.
And I watched that happening, and I began to ask the Lord, what's next? There was this sense, many of you can relate to this, I think, that there's a new assignment coming. Do you ever feel that way? You know that God is beginning to open up the door for something new and beginning to deal with your heart. And that's what was happening. And I knew that it was something else. And I received a phone call from a board member that said, I want to bring a group to Ethiopia. I just feel the Lord's put it on my heart. And I went to Ethiopia, and I knew immediately this is a place that God's calling me. I saw the poverty. I saw the openness to the gospel. They were clearly Jewish people connected to Israel, my people, as I listened to their traditions, their oral customs. And I went to Ethiopia. We did a medical clinic in 1999. And we could only help about 900 people, Ezra. And I felt just such a sense of hopelessness that there's so much more to be done. but how do we do it? And so I couldn't face that reality until 2003 when I returned, and God kept me up all night. And he said, I've called you to serve these people. And we've been working there ever since.
So from those first few trips, Jonathan, you knew that God was calling you and Jewish Voice to work in Ethiopia.
Yeah, and it was very difficult. First of all, in 1999, I was just transitioning to Jewish Voice. Lewis Kaplan, our founder, had suffered a stroke, and there was a need to get involved here. So I was pulled in a lot of directions. We also had very little financial support for the work in Ethiopia. We treated 900, and in one way, I was so grateful.
Sure.
Because the living conditions were horrendous. You can't even imagine what it was like. We saved people's lives with antibiotics, but we were far short in treating the number of illnesses and the severity that we experienced. Polio and leprosy and tuberculosis. So there was a financial challenge as well. But there's also the thousands of people that we could not help. And that's why the Lord brought me back in 2003. We've been working there ever since.
Right. And Jonathan, from 900 that first year to now, upwards of 18,000 people in a week that we're able to treat with eye care, eye surgery, dental care, medical care.
It's completely different now, Ezra. Many of you are responsible for that.
That's
because you have been partners with us in the work that God has called us to, and you have blessed so many Jewish people. I know there's others that are watching that can get involved, and I pray that God's moving on your heart, because we need your help. They need your help. We may be treating 18,000 a week, but Ezra, we're talking about millions that still have trachoma, that need eye surgeries, that need glasses, that need simple medicines.
That's right. You know, the need is so great, and I'm thinking of what Yeshua said to his disciples, what you've done unto the least of these, my brethren. Jesus, the Jewish Messiah, what you've done to the least of these Jewish people around the world, you've done unto me.
And more importantly, the gospel. We can change their lives through medical care, eye care, and dental care, but it's the gospel that transforms lives.
That's right.
And we're planting congregations. That's what we want to focus on today. We're planting communities of faith. I'm talking about historically tied to the people of Israel. And now they're finding Jesus as their Messiah. Jews
That's right.
that have embraced Jesus and now are being discipled.
Yeah.
And you can make that possible. I'm going to ask you to do two things. We have some great gifts also. I'm going to ask you to become a monthly partner. For $30 a month, you can help us to sustain a congregation of Jewish believers in Jesus grow in their faith. And for $600, that's $30 a month, or if you can make a one-time gift of $600, you will help us to plant, to start a new congregation. We're talking about what? A sound system.
That's right.
Materials, Bibles.
Discipleship training. Identifying congregational leaders and investing in them, Jonathan. It's the long game.
Right,
One of the things I love,
a leader.
We're making long-term commitments to these communities.
$100,
it's not flash in the pan
$100 you have a pastor.
Yeah.
You can't do that here in America.
That's right.
It may seem like a lot of money, but $600. And here's what we want to get to you is our way of saying thank you. We have an exclusive map. Talk about this,
Yes,
Ezra.
Jonathan, I love this. It's one of the best resources we offer, in my opinion, even though it's one of the most simple. I've had it in my office for years on the wall. It shows every place in the world where there's an identified Jewish community. Every place.
And then we have this Lost Tribes book that has beautiful pictures of the people that we've been serving together.
That's
with a little bit about who they are and how they got to where they are. We just want to get these out to you as gifts with some other things, but the most important thing is the gospel. Maybe you want to get more information about our ministry. We'd love to hear from you, and it's very easy. You can log on to our website. It's simply jewishvoice.tv, and there you can get some really great resources off the website. You'll be able to see the impact your support is having around the world, and great articles to grow in your faith and the Jewish roots of your faith. In addition, you can send us your prayer request, and I'll tell you this, we will pray for your need. We care about you, and we'll pray for every need. And I want to thank you in advance for your support of Jewish Voice. We have to go, but as I close the program, I want to remind you to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Psalm 122:6 says, "Pray for the peace of Jerusalem, they shall prosper who love thee." On behalf of Ezra Benjamin and myself, this is Jonathan Burness saying shalom and God bless you.
As you are learning today, the lost tribes of Israel are being discovered around the world, and our teams here at Jewish Voice continue to stay in relationship with them, providing medical care and, most importantly, sharing the gospel in their communities. Would you consider helping Jewish Voice further our outreaches to these people? As you call or go online now and support Jewish Voice Ministries with a one-time gift today of $40 or more. We want to say thank you by sending you two unique resources. First, you'll receive this Lost Tribes wall map, measuring 24 by 36 inches. This amazing chart shows in detail the locations of the Jewish tribes you are helping, and also denotes the ancient Silk Road, the major dispersion route for these tribes. In addition, you will also receive this 12 Tribes bracelet, providing a beautiful reminder and outward display of your support of Israel and the Jewish people. Jonathan is encouraging you to join him as a new monthly Shalom partner. Your continued monthly gifts are vital in providing the ongoing support so desperately needed to keep Jewish Voice outreaches touching the lives of so many people in need. As you make an ongoing commitment and become a new Shalom partner with a gift of just $30 today, we'll also include this Lost Tribes of Israel photo book. It's filled with color pictures and detailed information concerning the history and current location of these Jewish tribes that have been discovered. Your monthly support will make it possible for Jewish Voice to continue to help these tribes by providing the aid they desperately need, and also by establishing new leaders and congregations in their local communities. Make sure to request the Lost Tribes package when you contact us today. Jonathan wants to get these resources into your hands right away as you help us share the gospel, change lives through medical care, and give the gift of hope.
She's here getting help because we're providing it for free. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to see a doctor. She has no other means of getting medical care and medicines. And in just a few minutes, the doctors will see her. She'll get the medicines. We're going to help her every way and any way that we can. And so she'll get her help, and then she'll go into the prayer room, and I believe that she'll pray and receive Yeshua, Jesus, as her Messiah. This is a wonderful day for her. She's going to receive the care that she needs, and you can help us to help them.
Call the 800 number on the screen and let our representative know which level of giving you would like to participate in. If you prefer, you can always choose to give securely online at jewishvoice.tv. You can also donate by mailing your gift to the address on the screen. We are excited to provide you with these valuable resources, and we are so thankful for your generous support of Jewish Voice and for making a difference for so many through your sacrifice.
Hi, my name is Ezra Benjamin, and I'm the Vice President of Global Ministry Affairs here at Jewish Voice. I'm glad you visited our site today, and before you close this video, I just want to say thanks. Thanks for coming to learn more about what we do. However you got here today, an ad, a search, maybe even a prompting from the Lord, thanks for responding.